Former President Donald Trump praised the three recent historic rulings by the Supreme Court over the weekend. The court's 6 conservative-leaning justices ruled against affirmative action, against student loan forgiveness, and in favor of expanding religious liberties. CBS News' Skyler Henry has more on the responses on both sides of the aisle.
One by one, the court makes decisions that they don't like. All of a sudden, the court is, a not normal court, according to President Biden. Republican presidential challengers weighed in on the wave of momentous decisions by the Supreme Court.
What the Supreme Court showed is regardless of where you're born and raised, what color you are, what gender you are going to be able to have individual freedom, and that's a win for the United States of America.
Last week, the High Court's 6-3 conservative majority ruled race cannot be a factor when colleges and universities consider applicants. Justices also sided with a designer who opposed making same-sex wedding websites and invalidated President Biden's student loan forgiveness program that would have wiped out nearly $500 billion in borrower debt.
The majority of people that would have benefited from this student loan forgiveness are people with multiple graduate degrees.
The administration said it would have provided relief for many middle-class Americans. Despite the blow, President Biden vowed to carve out a new plan to forgive those loans.
We'll use every tool at our disposal to get you the student debt relief you need and reach your dreams.
According to White House estimates, some 20 million Americans would have seen their student loan balances erased altogether. Biden administration officials say they'll now look to using the Higher Education Act, which will look to try to develop a new authority to take on student loan forgiveness. But President Biden says that path will take time. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
And for more on President Biden's response and the 2024 presidential race, want to bring in CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe. Good morning again, Ed.
Yes, good to see you again.
Lots to get into, but let's pick up right where Skyler left off there. So this concept of maybe strategy of Biden's to use the Higher Education Act to get what he wants with student loan forgiveness. Is that going to work? Is this a viable path?
There is concern that it's going to end up right back at the Supreme Court maybe this time next year, and they're going to say almost the same thing, that it's not legal. Look, bottom line, ultimately, either people are going to have to pay their loans or Congress is probably going to have to get involved. And there's not enough of an appetite in Congress to do that because, of course, Republicans who were in favor of what the Supreme Court decided to do here would not want to take something like that up, and there just wouldn't be enough support to move it through the Senate. So the president's got to continue to at least appear to be doing something through his executive powers to stop this, because it was a campaign promise that not only he made, but so did Democratic congressional lawmakers. And they understand that it's a big economic hit for a big part of their base, 20 million Americans, a lot of them younger people, more inclined to vote for Democrats. And so they've got to continue trying to fight for this. Some might argue the court ruling against it helps, because now Democrats can say, well, if you want to stop things like that from happening in the future, keep us in charge of the Senate and the White House. We'll keep nominating judges who would be more inclined to support this kind of program.
That's the thing, is how much of this is optics and how much of this is really actionable, right?
Exactly.
So this was just one of 3 really big decisions we saw last week. So loans, religious liberty, and affirmative action. Let's talk, Ed, about how Republican candidates are now taking up those issues.
In virtually all of those instances, the Republicans side with the conservative majority because they're inclined to do that. What's interesting is you've seen some of the contenders, like Ron DeSantis of Florida, suggest that the 3 Trump-era appointees, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, Neil Gorsuch, haven't been conservative enough. Not conservative like Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas. That's red meat for the red base. But beyond that, they're pretty pleased with what's happened here. You saw Mike Pence in Skyler's report, for example, make the point that those that actually stand to benefit from this student loan forgiveness plan may not entirely be people who really need the help, but have opted to get an advanced degree, and that was their choice. The old argument of fairness, is this fair to the rest of the country, is one Republicans have been making on the student loan one, and it resonates with their voters for sure.
Yeah, the question of equity here is really interesting, right? I also want to ask you about this Washington Post reporting that in 2020, President Trump apparently pressured then Governor of Arizona, Doug Ducey, to overturn the election results in Arizona. So how are we thinking about this? How might this factor into the investigations we already know about?
Unless or until we hear that Ducey is being interviewed by either Jack Smith and the special counsel's team or one of the other ongoing investigations, maybe the one in Georgia, which is also looking at election interference, it may not matter much legally. But what it does demonstrate in the public and political space is the lengths to which, if it wasn't already clear, the former president and his vice president, Mike Pence, were going to try to find any avenue in which to challenge the results, push it through the courts, and at least raise public doubts. Notably, Pence told Face the Nation over the weekend, yes, I made those calls. It was merely to check in. Remember, there were hundreds of lawsuits being attempted across the country. They didn't pan out.
Right.
But he was doing that as part of that. In no way did he suggest he had been pressuring the governor himself. And remember, when Ducey, people may remember this, when Ducey signed off on the paperwork for Arizona's results, guess who called him during the event? But former President Trump. I mean, it was part of his ongoing push to try to stop it from being certified. Ducey's not inclined to support Trump. He's not that kind of Republican. So he probably has no problem with this being out there. But again, unless it's being taken up by one of the investigators, legally it may not matter much.
Okay, very interesting. But just another part of the narrative here.
Absolutely.
Okay, Ed O'Keefe, always interesting to chat. Thanks so much.
Good to see you.